Hello folks, back with another Work in Progress Wednesday, taking a look at what's on the hobby workbench. I still have this squad of 10 Terminator Genisys resistance fighters to finish up. I got a ultrasonic cleaner in last week, so of course I had to play around with the new toy. So I was stripping a lot of minis, figuring out how it works best, cleaning my airbrushes really well. So these guys just got base coated. I just gloss varnished them, and then they are ready for a wash, which I will do this afternoon, and then tomorrow I'll finish them up with their highlights. I like giving the wash overnight, if not 24 hours, to dry. I'm not sure how pleased I am with this color scheme. Again, I went with the this blue urban camo using the Army Painter Wolf Gray. Oh, that's the wrong one. Wolf Gray, not Fog Gray. Spray on primer, and then of course the matched paint to go with it. And then I wanted to do something a little bit different. I added little red stripes, and then the blue armor plates and knee pads here. I don't know, something about it. I'm not going to strip these and redo them. I probably have about 55 or 60 of these resistance fighters to do, so 10 of them being in a marginally paint scheme here will not bother me. There'll be plenty more on the table. These guys are definitely meant to be, wave horde attacks against the Terminators, so everything will turn out fine. So I'll have these finished tomorrow afternoon, and then I am also going to work on my 15 millimeter Rebel Minis Earth Force Home Guard. I had mentioned before that I found a couple of packs of these command figures that I have here, and then a number of regular troopers to go with them, because I had not done any NCOs, any leaders for my home guard. So they're up next. I have to prep them and base them. I hope I have enough washers. I base these on galvanized 20 millimeter washers in order to store them in magnetically lined tubs. So I'm going to do the same pretty simple gray and blue paint job here that the rest of the home guard are on, and then base them up, and then they'll be ready to go. So there's about 30 of those guys between the NCOs and a couple other packs of regular troops and heavy weapons to do. So we'll see how quick I crank through those. And then what I also have, one of the things I stripped and started to reassemble is this old dirt side lander from Ground Zero Games. I bought this in the late 90s actually, and it was sitting around forever. So I threw this in the ultrasonic cleaner, stripped it right up. Lots of gaps. It was not the best casting, it seems, but it is definitely a nice little 6 millimeter lander. Less a combat dropship and more just a transport. So this guy's going to get painted up once I finish green stuffing up the gaps. That's something that's new for me. This is the first model really that I am going to green stuff up a lot of defects in. And then I also have this Bradley Miniatures dropship from Ion Age, or Alternative Armies now. So I have a number of 6 millimeter figures from this range. I picked up a couple of them in order to test the range out, and I really liked them. I've done a little bit of gap filling here with green stuff. It's pretty good cast, pretty good fit, but it is resin, so I've had to do a couple of repairs on it. A lot less than the filling on this. The gaps in here are pretty minor, pretty easy to do, so they were a nice little break-in for me. Now these guys are going to be painted up in the same color scheme as my brown Ogre Combine forces here. So this is going to be the Army Painter Desert Yellow primer. Weapons get a gray, this charcoal gray that I like, and then red highlights and white highlights to pick out greebles. And then on the forces that I have multiple units, I use these little green spots to differentiate the units. So they'd have, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be 3, unit 3. But these guys will not get those green unit markings. I might actually put some decals on these guys. I picked up some decals on a miniature market sale a couple of weeks ago. For the mercenary units from Infinity. Actually, Plastcraft Games makes these. So pick these guys up. And they come in a bunch of different sizes. So, I'm throwing stuff around here. I may use these very little tiny Merc symbols here, because at this side they're indistinguishable from anything. But I liked a lot of these, this odd skull and then just kind of generic symbols. So I picked one of these up. And then lastly, I'm trying to do a lot of organization here in my my hobby workroom. One of the things I picked up was some dollar store baking tins here. So I'm going to line these with felt. I found my spray adhesive, so I'm going to spray adhesive down the felt here so that it doesn't move. And then these are going to be 2 of the tins. I have 2 of these that I'm going to use to bring back and forth to priming, like these Ground Zero Games United Nations Space Command ships, which need another little light coat of primer on them. And then hopefully I'll get to painting them up next week. But I like these little tins. Things aren't going to fall out of them. The felt is just there to stop them from sliding around and getting scratched up. So that is what is on the desk for this week. Not a whole lot of painting, although there are quite a few 15 mil guys here. These little Home Guard, Earth Force Home Guard. But a lot of cleaning up, a lot of organizing here in the game room, making painting a little bit easier, finding things. Thank you very much for tuning in again. Bye.